This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted for the first time to be joined by heavyweight Darius Fulghum. Darius, how's things?
Everything's going good. It's a beautiful morning. Just got done training. Glad to be on and have an interview with you.
I tell you what, the weather looks better there than it does over here. It's absolutely smashing it down with rain over here.
Look, that's why I'm outside. The weather's beautiful right now. It's very rare. It's starting to warm up over here now. So
yeah.
As I say that, as I'm wearing a hoodie in some Texas weather, but
yeah. before we get on to your upcoming fight, I'm doing a bit of research on you and something I wanted to just throw at you. Did I read right? Are you a qualified nurse?
Yeah, I'm a registered nurse. Yes.
So let's get on to that. How did you embark on and concentrate on a boxing career, amateur career, as well as study to be a nurse, a registered nurse? Because they're both so demanding. How did you manage to do that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. That was probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, because I was still competing at a very high level in the amateurs. While I was still in school, I won national Golden Gloves, and I was struggling to go to some of these tournaments, like the big major ones, because my school schedule wouldn't allow it, So I missed a lot of national tournaments to really kind of get my name out there. So luckily for me, I graduated 2019, and that was right when the Olympic trials was happening. So I was freed up. I was able to put everything I had into boxing, and then I won the Olympic trials. But trying to manage both was extreme. Like, you should have seen my schedule, bro. Like, I was up at 4:40 in the morning, and I'll go do a workout. Then I'd shower, drive to school, and I'll be in the parking garage. I'd take like a 20-minute nap in the garage and then go to class and be in class all day to then go back to train afterwards. It was ridiculous. But it just takes a certain level of sacrifice,
Yeah, I'm going to say, because that's not just like a part-time thing where you can only do it sort of half-assed. You've got to put everything into that.
Everything.
What made you want to do that then? Let's just talk about that for a minute. What made you want to study into that? Is that something you had a keen interest in alongside boxing, or is it you just stumble into it?
You talking about nursing? So
yeah, nursing.
It's really like it's something that I've always going to do since I remember. Like, I can't remember exactly the moment that I decided that I was going to do nursing, but I do remember my dad kind of pushing me into it. He was talking to me about it, and he said it's a good career. They need men, pays well. You'll always have a job. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure, fine, right. And then I talked to a couple of nurses or whatever, and that's the kind of I was kind of just slowly going that direction. But what kind of helped out a lot is I was a pretty, say, unhealthy kid. I was a little chunky kid when I was growing up. And then so when I started getting serious in sports, I kind of changed my whole lifestyle and started doing research myself to create more healthier habits. And then once I started doing that, I started getting more interested in the human body. And that's kind of where just like, let's say, my love and passion for science came. And then it just kind of went hand in hand, So it's a great career field, though. I've made a lot of great friends, and being a nurse will teach you a lot, for real.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you've got some interesting stories doing that job.
Yeah, seriously.
Moving on to your sort of amateur career, you managed to, because of obviously the pandemic and how things worked out, you did miss the Olympics, but you did turn professional and you got that one fight under your belt. Do you think, although that was sort of a goal that you couldn't achieve through no fault of your own, do you think that sort of everything happens for a reason and this was just meant to happen, and now you've transitioned over to the professional game and you're getting a start on a bit earlier?
Yeah, I try not to soak on it, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that was out of my control, nothing I could do, so that wasn't the end all be all for me, you know what I mean? That was just something that I really wanted to accomplish. Sad that I wasn't able to, but life moves on and I got to move on with it. I keep going to my next goal, which is to be light heavyweight champion of the world. So we're now starting that journey, and I had the first victory in December and had the second one really soon. So just one step at a time, it sucks, but life goes on.
Do you say light heavyweight?
Yeah, light heavyweight, yeah.
I must apologize. I think I introduced you as heavyweight for some reason, but
it's all good. I was fighting the heavyweight in the amateurs. It's
go on.
No, I was just saying, like, at the time in the amateurs, that was something else that really played a part when I was in school and stuff. how I really started fighting at heavyweight. I never weighed 91 kilograms. Like I was never an actual heavyweight. I actually fought up a weight class, but it was just funny how it happened. Was I was doing Golden Gloves, and for how it works in Golden Gloves, you have to win for me, I had to win Houston Golden Gloves. Then I have to go to state Golden Gloves, win that for Texas, and then we go to national Golden Gloves, and then obviously win that. So there's different like levels, right? And my school schedule wouldn't really allow me to go any further than Houston, you know, because since it was in Houston, I could do that. But when I had to travel a great distance and be gone for a week, I couldn't do that. So I was like, well, I'll just fight at heavyweight because there was better competition here at heavyweight. And so I was like, I'd rather just get better competition or whatever. It just worked out perfectly that my schedule freed up and I was able to go to state. And then I was like, oh, shoot. So I had no choice to fight at heavyweight instead of light heavyweight, which I normally did. Then I won at heavyweight. Then I went to nationals and I won there. And I was like, all right, man, I think this is my weight class. I think this is my weight class. You know, I didn't have that stress of cutting weight. I was weighing like 180 something pounds, you know, fighting at heavyweight throughout my whole amateur career. So that's just where I just so happen to be kind of stuck at. But I'm naturally a light heavyweight.
Okay. Well, you've got a pretty big show coming up. You're on the undercard of Errol Spence in only your second professional fight.
Right.
Does that give you that added motivation, that added buzz? Because a lot of the time when you're starting out, you get these opportunities, and it might take you maybe 8 to 10 fights before you get put on the undercard of such a big event. Does that give you that extra buzz motivation?
Dude, it does, man. And especially I haven't fought in the United States period in such a long time. And especially for it to be not too far from home. Just on a huge card like this, where I'm still able to bring a lot of my people out, you know, and kind of really start this journey with them. I know not necessarily starting the journey is my second fight, but you know, it's still very early in the journey, and to be on a huge card like this to get a good push from my supporters, my people. So it's a huge opportunity for me, and I've been more than ready. I've been training so hard for this moment, so I can't let this moment slip up.
What do you make of the main event on that card? Obviously, Errol Spence, tough fight against Ugas for a unification. He's hoping to obviously get through that and set up that fight everyone wants to see between him and Terence Crawford. Right. What's your take on that? Do you think he beats Ugas, or do you think Ugas cause an upset? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he beats Ugas. Errol, I've been a fan of Errol for a while, and it could be a little biased because, you know, from my home state, from Texas, right? But it could be a little biased, whatever. I do think Ugas is a good fighter, and it's interesting to see two southpaw matchups, to see how they really kind of collide. But Errol has proven many times, you know, how great of a fighter he is. Ugas has too. He's shown a lot of grit and a lot of heart, but I do think Errol will take this fight, though. I think he'll end up putting the pressure on him, landing some nice body shots, getting busy with his jab. And I do think he'll win. But I am a fan of Ugas too, but I think Errol takes it.
Yeah, you got to go with your hometown boy, haven't you?
Yeah, got to.
Since you moved over to the professional game then, have you felt like your style, and I've seen obviously highlights of you and things like that, do you feel like your style's more suited to the pro game?
Dude, it's completely more suited to the pro game, like without a doubt. Like that's how I've been training since I started. It was more for the pros. I never had an amateur style, and I struggled with that a lot when I was on the team. Like a lot of stuff that they were trying to teach me was conflicting to what I like naturally did, you know. So it was a little bit difficult transition when I was, you know, going for the Olympics and stuff, and I was on the team. But pro game, as far as the pace goes, like I'm an adaptive fighter, you know what I mean? The more rounds that go on, the better that I get. So as far as like this style is, that's why I'm so suited for the pros. I've been ready for this for a while, and I'm just ready to showcase myself.
Don't you think it's weird how some fighters do so well in the amateurs, and then sometimes they transfer over and it just doesn't work out, and then some fighters have an amateur career where you look and think it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's obviously you're never going to go really undefeated in the amateurs, but then you see a lot of losses, but then they turn pro and it just fits. Isn't it weird how the styles sort of conflict?
Yeah, it is a weird thing, and sometimes it's hard to predict and hard to see as well. Like you really sometimes, and you can say that for managers and promoters, sometimes they can guess wrong on who they think the guy will be. You know, they can have it there. There's a guy that could be a freaking gold medalist and then come into the pros and then kind of struggle. And it's like, but how does that even happen? But it's such a different game, you know, rather than in the amateurs. There's a lot more pressure, a lot more media. There's a lot more promotion, obviously, that goes into it that adds so much more pressure to somebody's mental. And then obviously, like you said, style wise, like if there, it's the hurt business in the pros, you know. You're looking to hurt people, not just scoring points and touch and go, you know. So it's a completely different game, and just it's about who can make the transition and adapt well to it.
Yeah, once them head guards come off, it's no joke.
Yeah. And really, you know, it's funny because in the amateurs now, like when we were fighting overseas, we didn't wear headgear and stuff, but the gloves is a huge difference. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's hard for me to say because my first fight, I didn't really get hit like that, so I didn't really get to feel it. But before the fight, I remember before the fight, I was kind of like, you know,
just having a feel.
Yeah. So I'm going and I'm bracing up for what's to come, right? Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get hit. It's part of the game. So let me go ahead and just prepare myself. And so I just hit myself a little bit. And I remember I put these gloves on and I hit myself and I said, God dang, like I'm barely tapped myself. And I'm like, it was a quick reminder before I went in the ring and said, boy, move your head, keep your defense sharp, move your feet, keep your range. It was a quick reminder real quick, like, oh yeah, now this is a different business. This is her business. So protect yourself at all times.
At all times.
All times.
When you look at this pro game now, there's so many good champions, world champions, such a rare talent. Obviously, it's going to be your second fight, so you're not going to be necessarily calling out these top guys. But is there anyone now you see who's around where you're like, you know what, when my time comes, I want to fight that guy. That's going to be a good fight.
Well, you know, obviously, who I would want to say, man, I'm gonna obviously say the big name, which would be Canelo. Canelo's rough around that weight. We're on the same weight, so that's obviously a huge fight. I don't know how long his career lasts. You know, he's kind of at the peak of his career. He's still relatively young, you know, so he could keep going for a couple years. But you know, who knows? He's at a point where if he want to retire, he could.
Yeah. He's sort of doing what he wants, and he's moving up and down.
Yeah. He has the right to do that too. So, you know, he's done the groundwork, and so he's really in a position like Floyd and do what he wants.
What do you make of Canelo's career? Obviously, he's only had that one defeat against Floyd. We all know where sort of Floyd ranks in history. He's up there with one of the best, in a lot of people's eyes, the best. Where do you think Canelo ranks? Obviously, he's now looking at other weight classes. I mean, people were talking about him moving up to cruiserweight.
Right.
And Cowboy, which is it's a big ask, but
to think from where he started at too. I'm a huge fan. His whole embodiment of his entire career has been nothing but amazing to me. And you know, hold on real quick. My bad, somebody's calling me. And it's crazy when like I hate when I go like on social media and I see so many people hating on Canelo, saying he's ducking this person, he's ducking that person. I'm like what? He's fighting like straight champions back to back to back. You know what I mean? And people are ridiculing for it. It's like no matter what he does, he's gonna get hated on for it. And that's just really just as a testament to really how great he really is, you know?
Yeah, it seems.
But it's hard for me to say where I rank him yet. I always have to say that when his career is over with, you know. But he's done amazing things coming up, like from like 54 all the way now to 75. Like that's crazy impressive.
It's strange. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and it seems like the better you are at something, like especially in combat sports, the higher you get, and you've achieved so much. Someone's always going to say you're ducking someone because everybody wants that fight. So I know
everybody wants it.
People were talking about fighting, might have been Benavidez, and like, oh, he's ducking him, but yeah, he fought Saunders and Triple G, and his body of work's incredible to say he's ducking. So it's almost like a catch-22, isn't it? Like,
right. Because no, seriously, I've heard they were saying like if he went up to fight 75 and fight Bivol, right? Bivol's a great fighter. I'm a huge fan of Bivol. And they're gonna say, yeah, oh, he picked Bivol, he's ducking this person. Like what? Like he can only fight one person at a time. Like so that's again, that just really just shows how great somebody is, because when you're at that level, like people are always going to criticize everything you do because there's going to be haters, man. That's when you know you made it. If you got haters, you know you made it.
So that's what you're after then. An army of haters when you're 20 and everyone, you beat everyone. You're ducking.
Look. You know, again, I don't want no haters, but again, it comes with it, right? Yeah. It's just natural. So just try not to be fazed by it.
What do you think to Canelo and Bivol then? I think Bivol's a really awkward fighter. What do you make of that matchup?
He is, man. And he's proven himself against great fighters as well. But it's just so hard because Canelo's style is so good, especially later in the fight. You know what I mean? Like he kind of starts off, depending on how he fights this fight, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times he starts off slow, but he's an amazing counter puncher. And you can tell obviously he can crack. I think that's the big difference. Even at this weight, like he's coming up in weight and he's looks more powerful than his opposition, right? When he fought Plant, he just looked more devastating. Like his punches look more devastating than Plant's. And so I do think, again, I think I'm biased. I like Canelo. I do think he's gonna win. I think he'll start to take over later in the fight. I think Bivol's gonna have a lot of success early. Because he does have fundamental 1-2. His 1-2 is amazing. He's got a good jab, a good right hand. But I do think Canelo's gonna start walking him down, start landing some good body shots. Canelo throws his left hook he throws it way too much, in my opinion. When he was fighting Plant, it was the same thing over and over again, but he ended up catching him with it at the end, you know, in the 10th round, I think, or 11th or whatever round it was. He kept throwing the same feint where he would act like he was throwing the hook down to the body, but then mix it up to the head. He threw it over and over and over and over again, and then eventually ended up caught him. So, but I do think the result is going to be similar, like with Caleb Plant. Like I think because Caleb Plant has some good success. So I think Bivol has success in the beginning, but Canelo will end up taking over later on.
Can I get your opinion on the heavyweight fight that's coming up? We've got Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte in, less than a couple of weeks now. Incredible fight, especially over here for the fans. What do you make of that fight? How do you see that going?
Again, I'm a big Tyson Fury fan, and I probably have bias towards that as well. And I do think Tyson Fury. Do I think he'll stop him? I don't know. I don't know if he'll. I do think Tyson Fury dominates the fight, though. I do say that. I think Tyson Fury is just an excellent boxer. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've watched and how he fights. He's so loose.
Yeah.
When he's flicking his jab, he's got good movement for such a big guy like that. You know, and even just how he is. I don't know how well Dillian Whyte handles. Like, I think he handles it well, but Tyson Fury is so good at press conferences. When you hear him talk, when he's talking mess. He does it so well, and I know it's just something that probably just eats at somebody's head.
Yeah.
I think Dillian Whyte can handle that though, but I do think Tyson Fury is a better boxer though, and I think he'll show it.
Yeah, be an interesting fight. So let's come back to you. 6-round fight, I believe. This one you're going into.
Right.
What can fans expect? Fans that have never seen you before, what can they expect on that night? What can we expect to see from you?
I think what the most important thing is to see a great boxing performance. I'm not really trying to get touched at all. I think you'll see how well I can control range, how good my feet are, and how good my jab is. Fighting the southpaw, so it'll be a little awkward for this fight, right?
Yep.
But I think we'll see a lot of different skill sets that I have, and I can't wait to show it off.
How'd you win? Do you think you'll be able to get him out of there, or is it a case of just like you said, adjust and adapt however the fight goes? A lot of people tell me that these days. They just like to make the adjustments while they're in there.
Yes, adjust and adapt, man. Like realistically too, it's crazy because it's like I want to get the rounds in. Obviously, I would prefer the stoppage, right? You know, I'd rather get them out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Me not take as much damage. But in this business, and it's about developing, and I really do want to get the rounds in. So really, my idea really going to the fight is really just being patient and take my time. Really kind of just soak in the pro game, right? Soak in how it feels, the atmosphere, the energy that the fans bring in a big stadium like that. That's something that's really important to me for this fight, because that's really for my growth and development later on. Make sure I try to get the rounds in. But trust me, if the stoppage is there, I'm going for the kill. I'm going for the kill if the stoppage is there. But in my head right now, I'm really just want to put on a clean boxing performance and look really good.
And just before we go, let's talk about your management team, S-Jam.
Right.
Great guys, put together a really impressive stable of fighters. Talk about, we say, how you found working with them and what they're doing for your career. Got you on a really big show. Yeah.
Huge card, man. You know, I signed with them kind of like mid-late last year. And we're starting to make a lot of big strides for my career. I think it was a really great decision, and I'm really happy to be working with them.
Absolutely.
And have them really manage my career. You know, it's a little different, you know, American fighter signing with the UK management team, but I like different, and they treat me well. So we're just trying to make it to the top, you know what I'm saying? And I think they're the people to do it.
Yeah. Darius, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Fingers crossed we can meet in person one day, and maybe you get to fight in the UK.
Yeah, that sounds good. That is definitely the plan. Hopefully I should fight in the UK this year.
Oh, great. Well, hopefully we can catch up on fight week then. Darius, look,
that sounds good.
Thanks for giving Into Boxing some of your time today. Wish you all the best for that undercard. Huge night for you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.